All right, today we are diving deep, literally. We're talking about a story of incredible wealth, mind-bending technology, and, yeah, some profound risk. This is all about Brazil's massive bet on deep water oil, a modern-day treasure hunt that could make or break a nation.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll explore what this deep water frontier even is. Then, we'll look at how it's supercharged Brazil's economy, before pulling back the curtain on a massive corruption scandal. After that, we'll get into the huge environmental risks, and finally, we'll try to weigh the true cost of it all.
Okay, first up, the deep water frontier. You know, as the easy-to-get oil starts to run low around the world, the hunt for energy has pushed us into some of the most extreme environments you can imagine. And it doesn't get much more extreme than the deep ocean.
So you have to ask yourself, what are we even looking for down there? I mean, picture this. You have to drill 2 kilometers, that's over a mile, straight down through ocean water, and then you hit a massive, thick layer of solid salt that you somehow have to punch through. It is an absolutely incredible feat of engineering.
And that is what we're talking about when we say deep water oil. Yeah, this is not your typical oil well. We're talking about enormous reserves of fossil fuels that are tracked under geology that makes getting to them just insanely complex and, you guessed it, staggeringly expensive.
Well, back in 2006, Brazil basically hit the lottery. They discovered the Tupi field, which is now called the Lula field, and it was a game changer. It was one of the biggest deep water finds anywhere in the world. And just like that, Brazil was front and center in this whole new energy frontier.
So naturally, this leads us to our next part, fueling an economy. Because when you find something that big, you're not just promising energy, you're promising a total transformation for your country. And for a while there, the boom was absolutely real. Brazil's oil production just shot through the roof. The country was bringing in huge amounts of money from exports, which directly fueled its economic growth. And the state-owned oil company, Petrobras, went from being a regional player to a serious contender on the world stage. It really looked like a total win.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? The story took a really dark turn. Which brings us to Section 3, a shadow of corruption. This is where all that promise and prosperity just slammed headfirst into a wall of good old-fashioned greed.
Just look at this timeline for a second. In 2006, you've got this incredible discovery, this symbol of a bright new future. But fast forward less than a decade to 2014, and an investigation called Operation Car Wash kicks off. And this wasn't some small thing. It was a massive probe that put Petrobras, the hero of the oil boom, right at the heart of the scandal. And the scale of it was just mind-blowing. The investigation found that billions, that's billions with a B, of dollars were basically stolen through a massive network of bribes and kickbacks. And suddenly, all those economic gains felt tainted. The whole thing just shattered the public's trust in the very institutions that were supposed to be building a better Brazil.
Which brings us to the other, equally scary side of the coin. Section 4, the environmental gamble. Because drilling in these kinds of extreme conditions, well, it's not just a financial or political risk. It's a huge ecological one.
Take a look at this number, 4.9 million barrels. That is how much oil gushed into the Gulf of Mexico during the Deepwater Horizon disaster. It's a number so big it's almost impossible to really wrap your head around. It was a catastrophe on an absolutely epic scale.
And here is the thing you have to understand. The potential for a disaster just like that, on that exact scale, now exists right off the coast of Brazil. We're talking about the same incredible technologies, the same immense pressures, and the same terrifying potential for something to go catastrophically wrong.
And if a spill were to happen, the consequences would be just devastating. You're talking about wiping out entire marine ecosystems, destroying fisheries that coastal communities rely on to survive, and causing long-term, maybe even permanent damage to biodiversity. And that's not even counting the climate change impact from pulling all that oil out of the ground and burning it.
So all of this leads us to our final section, where we try to put all the pieces together. It's time to weigh the true cost, to balance that promise of progress against the stark reality of peril.
This table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got these incredible gains, energy security, massive revenue, economic growth, a place on the world stage. But the other side of the ledger is just as heavy. Rampant corruption, the risk of a horrific oil spill, the long-term climate impact, and the potential destruction of marine life.
So here's the real takeaway. This isn't just a story about Brazil.
It's a perfect snapshot of the incredibly difficult choices that nations all over the world are facing right now. How do you possibly balance our endless appetite for energy with the very real social and environmental price we have to pay to get it?
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. There's no doubt that fossil fuels built the world we live in. The question now is, what's the price of our next move? What will it cost us to leave them behind? And, maybe more importantly, what will it cost us if we fail to?